And we now welcome in CBS Sports WNBA analyst Erica Ayala. So the playoff picture got a lot more clear on Tuesday, especially with those top 2 seeds. The Liberty were already primed to lock up that 1 seed and went on to clinch it Tuesday night with their win over the Mystics. Now, they've got the best record in the league. This is now back-to-back 30-win season. So now I want to ask you, looking at 2024, how big is the margin between the Liberty and everyone else this time around?
Well, I do think that the New York Liberty, if we compare them year over year, they have gotten significantly better. They made an effort in the offseason to get more length. Their general manager, Jonathan Kolb, told us at Media Day. And I'll be honest, at first, I wasn't really sure how players like Leonie Fibich fit into this New York Liberty roster. I wasn't sure that they were going to contribute enough. But now Leo, for me, is definitely going to be one of those players I think you have to put on an all-rookie team. Has been a fantastic addition to the New York Liberty. So I think the Liberty are definitely better than they were last year, especially in the clutch, which is something else that Jonathan Kolb wanted to get done with some of the players that he recruited. As far as how far ahead they are of all of the other teams, that's really hard to say. The New York Liberty did a great job with their consistency, especially leading into and coming out of the Olympic break. But we've seen other teams that didn't have that same consistency, mainly the Las Vegas Aces. The Minnesota Lynx have been a pretty steady team, and we'll talk about them shortly. So I don't know that there's a massive gap between the New York Liberty and everyone else, but I do think there are significant improvements that the Liberty have made year over year on their own roster.
Hoping that those improvements can help lead them to their first WNBA title. But meanwhile, you mentioned, we're going to talk about those Lynx. They locked up that 2 seed after their win over the Sun. That's a team that they failed to beat this entire season until, well, when it mattered most. That was a wild exchange in the final minute of that one. But what was different for the Lynx this time around?
What I like about this Lynx team is, again, I think they've been one of the more consistent teams this season. They have really locked in defensively, and they do that on a team where you already have offensive threats. We heard a lot of people have been saying, if not for what A'ja Wilson has been doing, Napheesa Collier once again could be in MVP conversations. We heard from Cheryl Reeve leading into the game that the Lynx won against New York, that their heart and soul of this team is Napheesa Collier, but then also Kayla McBride coming through, being a great leader on this team. They just know how to weather the storm, so to speak. But what has absolutely been clutch for the Lynx in the last handful of games, beating New York on the road, beating the Connecticut Sun on the road to lock up that number 2 seed, has been Bridget Carlton. The Canadian Olympian has come in clutch from beyond the arc for the Minnesota Lynx. We heard Cheryl Reeve say, we don't scheme for Carlton. She just knows where to be. Right place, right time, knock it down. That's how they got the win over the Sun tonight.
Yeah, she certainly was in the right place at the right time with that 3-pointer to seal that game for the Lynx. But hey, there's still one spot up for grabs to even get into the dance. The Sky, the Dream, Mystics, all still alive. That 8th seed will be determined during Thursday's slate. But just looking at the matchups for Thursday and maybe just overall teams, who do you think locks up that final playoff spot?
This is really tough. You know, the Chicago Sky have been really trying to hold on to the little bit of the lead that they had in that 8th spot. And to their credit, they've been able to stay in the mix. But you have to look at that team. They are beaten. They are battered down. They had 5 players who arguably, in some scenarios, could be a starting 5. DeShields, Williams, Cardozo, Reese, and Carter all out as they played on, on Tuesday night. It's going to be a tough road for them, and they have to take on the Connecticut Sun. Then you look at the New York Liberty, or I should say the Atlanta Dream, have to take on the New York Liberty. Now, we know that New York and Connecticut effectively know where they're going to play, but they're still playing to make sure they have a good rhythm going into the postseason. Those aren't going to be easy games. And then you look at the Washington Mystics, how they are even still in conversation after starting 0-12 is It shows the heart, the tenacity. This is a Washington team that has really taken a lot of teams, including the Aces, New York at times, down to the wire. I think they've refined a little bit better their fourth quarter. And although they are the more long shot, I kind of like that they have Indiana, that 6th seed. Indiana has locked up that 6th seed. So I think go a little wild here and say, hey, why not the Washington Mystics? They've come this far. If they can get a win and the other two teams have a tough competition and those games go the way we think they might go, hey, maybe it will be the Washington Mystics.
Hey, anything can happen, but what better way to put a stamp on one of the most historic WNBA seasons than one that goes all the way to the wire, to that final game of the season. It'll be determined soon. And Erica, I'm sure we'll have you to stop by to chat with us. We appreciate the time. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
And it all comes to this Thursday. That wraps up the WNBA regular season. It also wraps up the postseason picture. Those notable games, those final 3 teams looking to clinch that 8th and final seed. The Sky taking on the Sun. You got the Dream taking on that 1 seed Liberty, and the Fever, Caitlin Clark and co. taking on the Mystics, all rallying for that final 8th spot in the postseason.